President to engage in such a warm dialogue between him and his sons there, the new cadets of the Academy, to shed more light on the speech and on the tour, on the visit. We are very much delighted to have with us via phone Mr. Abdul Rahman, our political analyst and our journalist. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Happy Ramadan to you, sir. And as I said in my intro, we are going to tackle together the most important points which were tackled in the video. But before going into these details, how do you see in the first place the keenness of the head of the state to have these inspection tours, whether in the police academy, in the military academy, in many of the academies, and to engage in talks with the new cadets and to talk with them about many things, whether local or regional or even international?
I'm sure that this has become a tradition in the new republic. I'm sure that such visit paid by Mr. President Abdul to the new generations of fighters, of warriors, whether in the army or the police, look at those new generations, the new arms that will be ready to fight any time on any front, whether in the domestic front or the outside front, to defend the national security or the outer security. That represents a very important vision and wide vision on how to, for the leadership, look at those new generations as a part of the new republic, the part of the future to come. Sharing the students in police academy or the military academy in making the decision, or show them what is going on really on the front, on the strategic fronts of Egypt, or the domestic challenges that we are witnessing. That strengthened the ties between the leadership and the army and the police. That represents the very important slogan that we are all allied on the heart of one leader, the police and the army and the whole nation. Also, it represents how important that the new generations at all sectors of the society is part of the vision, how to see and have this common vision and one point of view to gather upon, that we are all guardians of our own national security, and we are all part of the armies and the powers that are protecting our own national security.
And to add to what you're saying, sir, the president was keen even to express gratitude to the families of the new cadets, telling them that they have done a lot to present or to introduce to Egypt this batch of youth who are going to shoulder such a big responsibility of defending our national security. How do you see this also, sir?
Well, the families are the main on the origin. Well, of course, after we witnessed the casualties and the martyrs that we have lost in our war against terrorism, it were important to be taken care of and to be in the eye, on the heart of the event, to share what their students are sharing and concerned about. By the way, we are the first and the only army, organized army, that won and conquered the terroristic groups in a war with the tactic of hit and run. We have conquered those militias and their tactics in the most heroic way, which is the same victory that other armies like the American army just failed to achieve against the militias in Afghanistan, in other places. We share, as leadership, the leadership shares the victory and the victorious conquers against the terrorists and the militias of terrorism that represents other powers, hostile powers from abroad. The police are in the main point on the front. The police have taken their share. The police heroes have were taken their share of victorious and heroic sacrifices to defend the national front, and of course they are part of the coming challenges, and they are part of whatever Egypt's going to face, especially that we are going through a very delicate phase.
We are surrounded by changes and challenges in the same time. And
Sure.
because of that, also the president was keen to speak about the economic file. And he mentioned the many challenges, difficulties, changes, you name it, starting with COVID-19, then the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, then the Gaza catastrophe or the Israeli genocide war in Gaza. And the president also was keen to detail the amendments, the measures, and all the efforts exerted by Egypt to maintain economic stability and what we are expecting in the coming stage. How is he discussing this and being that transparent with the new cadets we have?
He was always part of Mr. President's speeches to the nation at all events, and I am sure that the Egyptian economy was going on the fastest way towards development and achieving the greater and the mega projects, and it was marching towards dimensions we have never reached before, even since, let's say, continue what we were achieving in the 60s by building the true economical and industrial cultural renaissance to build the pillars of a true, solid, and strong economy that can carry the nation towards a better future for generations to come.
Yep.
Suddenly, we have witnessed three crises, three international crises. I don't, as I said, the feeling that I don't know a country that have suffered from those three crises like Egypt, as the Egyptian economy has suffered. We have witnessed the epidemic, and we have conquered it, thank God. Then, suddenly, out of the blue, just we have witnessed another crisis by the Russian war against Ukraine, which is a righteous war to protect the Russian national security in Crimea and in the Donbass, of course. But the consequences of this war have touched severely the whole, not just Eurasia, but the whole world, and of course Egypt is in the heart of the world. And by the way, we have and we are going through huge challenges because of the important and strong situation that we have taken in such crisis in the Russian-Ukrainian war. We have refused any pressures from the U.S. to be at their side or to be their follower in this war. We have taken our own situation that's built on our own national security basis, our only national security basis, and we have maintained the strong relations with Russia, as well as we have our relations with the West. We didn't take side. We are taking our own side, our own best interest side. And of course, we are suffering right now because, we are not complaining, but this is our own role, our own mission to protect the Arabic rights in the occupied lands against a new Holocaust.
What we are all witnessing and what the whole world is witnessing is the relentless efforts by Egypt to reach a ceasefire in the for the Israeli genocide war in Gaza, which killed until the moment more than 31,500 Palestinian civilians, mostly women, children, and minors. But also, the president was keen to speak about airdropping tons of humanitarian aid there, and to speak about the way we are diversifying our support to our Palestinian people in Gaza. How do you see this too?
I see this a very important step to challenge and to define any other influence from abroad in the occupied lands in Gaza Strip or in Palestine or in Gaza Strip that represents our own Eastern national security, internationally. Of course, it means a lot to our borders, our eastern borders. We are challenging and defining the influence of the U.S. that is trying to manipulate our own national security in Palestine. There is, of course, we have by the step, the courageous step by dropping the aid and the human supplies into our neighbors and our brothers in Palestine, who are suffering the genocide and the Zionist Holocaust against the Palestinians, against the Arabs in the Arabic East, and that genocide completes. Let me take the Rashid massacre. It's an extension to the American genocide and the American crimes in Iraq, in Rashid Square in Baghdad. It's a continuing assault and continuing colonization to our own land and against our own righteous causes. We are witnessing right now, by such step taken by the military, the Egyptian military, to drop the human supplies to the neighbors by air, by our own air force. That represents a strong message that we are controlling the air around us, not just in our own land. And also we are defining and confronting the American influence and the Zionist influence through
In fact, sir, in many occasions the president was keen to warn the international community and the big powers of the spillover of the conflict. And unfortunately, when this happened on the ground with Israeli strikes on Syria, even as if today, and with those conflicts which took place between now and then between Israel and Lebanon, or their attacks on the Lebanese border, this is to say to what extent we are, I'm not going to say experts in what's going on or the pioneers when it comes to try to let security and peace prevail by taking measures on the ground. But the president was keen also to speak about that and to speak about the continuous contact between Egypt and other partners, whether regional or international, to try to find a solution for what's going on there. How do you see also speaking about our balanced foreign relations and...
Well, as I said, we are only taking care and making our own best interests and our protecting our national security as a supreme target in dealing with any of the powers, whether in the West or in the East. And we are seeking right now a new leadership for in Gaza Strip that represents the people, the nation in Palestine, in the Arabic nation in Palestine, and only protect the Arabic rights. A new leader that at the table or behind doors with the Mossad or the CIA or the MI6 or whatsoever, those powers that are trying to manipulate the scene in Palestine. Well, that is the greatest challenge. Let me say it. This is the greatest challenge to create the new leadership that doesn't represent the past in the leaderships in Palestine that have suffered and led the Arabic clans into catastrophe after catastrophe. Always the Egyptian efforts were concerned about uniting, excuse me, uniting the Palestinian powers on one leadership, one united leadership in Palestine. We're not talking anymore about
efforts.
this or that. We are talking about a Palestine leadership for the Palestine nation.
And as of today, inshallah, we all hope that talks which are going to take place in Qatar are going to end with at least a ceasefire, even if it's not a permanent one, to make sure that we are not going to lose more innocent lives in the Palestinian territory as well. Mr. Abdul Rahman, thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good day. Well, right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.